border security, but no deal has been reached. Arizona Independent Kirsten Sinema, Connecticut Democrat Chris Murphy, and Oklahoma Republican James Lankford met with Mayorkas for about 2 hours late this morning. The group is trying to hash out a deal involving the U.S. southern border and aid packages to Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. They plan to meet again later today. Former President Trump is holding a campaign rally in New Hampshire today as polls show him holding a sizable lead over his GOP rivals. The event comes less than a month before the Iowa caucuses kick off the primary voting season. Recent polls also give Trump the lead over President Biden in hypothetical matchups in a half-dozen swing states that could decide the 2024 election. Gale warnings are in effect throughout virtually all of South Florida until Sunday evening. Reporter Marissa Pera is in Hollywood, Florida, where forecasters say conditions will get worse later in the day.
That is when we're going to see the most intense part of the storms, and the biggest risks are the things that would develop very quickly. We're talking about the tornadoes. We're talking about flash flooding.
The National Weather Service says sustained winds or gusts of at least 30 to 45 miles per hour are expected in the affected areas. The gale warnings are posted as far north as West Palm Beach on the Atlantic coast and Naples on the Gulf Coast. The Florida Keys are also included until 11 p.m. Volunteers placed thousands of holiday wreaths on graves at Arlington National Cemetery today. The group Wreaths Across America organized the tribute to service members, which takes place at military cemeteries nationwide. You're listening to the latest from NBC News Radio.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter. Amy Goodman reports on the news stories rarely covered by the corporate media. Democracy Now!
Youth activist Lucky Abang of the Pan-African Climate Justice Alliance demanded rich countries pay poor nations for loss and damage caused by climate disasters, like recent floods in Nigeria that killed more than 600 people while displacing over 1 million.
Democracy Now! Weekday evenings at 11 on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk.
2 years ago, the bipartisan infrastructure law was passed by Congress and signed into law. It was a once-in-a-generation investment in America's infrastructure that strengthened the American economy and our global competitiveness, while lowering costs for middle-class families across the country. The law is rebuilding America's roads, railways, and bridges. It's created good-paying clean energy jobs that boost middle-class families and support domestic manufacturing. And it's tackling the climate crisis by protecting us from future natural disasters, reducing greenhouse gas emissions, and expanding access to clean drinking water. But more must be done to combat the climate crisis, so we build upon the progress we've made and don't go backward. Please call your representative in Congress at 202-224-3121. That's 202-224-3121. And tell them to keep investing in a clean energy future that fights climate change. Paid for by House Majority Forward.
If you don't have final expense insurance, this message is for you. LifeCare provides valuable whole life insurance to help cover final expenses, medical bills, burial costs, and unpaid debt. A final expense insurance policy is fast, easy, affordable life insurance, available to anyone between the ages of 50 and 80. No medical exams, no lengthy questionnaires, and no waiting period. Call LifeCare at 800-956-0683. 800-956-0683.
You've heard the buzz about IT jobs in cybersecurity and AI, right? Why not prepare for a career in these fields and take advantage of the high demand? You could enjoy a more rewarding and recession-resistant lifestyle. Train in just a few short months at My Computer Career. No experience necessary. Already in IT? Skill up for positions employers need to fill. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. That's mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk, where facts matter.
The following program, Collaboraction Radio, is sponsored by Collaboraction, and to the extent applicable, their guests. The views and opinions expressed therein do not necessarily reflect those of NewsWeb Radio Company or its management.
here with Akenya today.
Hello.
Yeah. Chicago. It's raining, but it feels like it should be snowing. Be grateful. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Collaboraction Radio. We're here at the intersection of art, activism, and social change. Right at WCPT 820 AM. That was the sounds of DJ Lady D, the queen of house music in Chicago, who is Chicago's board president. So, we got that going for us. We're here on Chicago's Progressive Talk Radio every Saturday at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we're also streaming live on Facebook and WCPT.com. I forgot to put a dot in there. WCPT.com. And it's kind of like putting the www before stuff. People stopped doing that a while, but sometimes I like to put that there. And you can also find us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and YouTube and everywhere else you get your digital stuff. We got our first Spotify Wrapped report back for the show, and we learned some interesting things, and we're going to be learning more interesting things today. I am Anthony Mosley. I am Collaboration's artistic director. My co-host Carla Stillwell will not be here today, but my fabulous guest, Akenya Seymour, is here.
Hello.
And so now you're just co-hosting with me now. See, that's how it worked.
Okay, cool. I'm down.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. Got a lot going on, but very happy to be here.
Thanks for making time.
Thanks for having me.
Saturday at 4. Akenya's going to be, you're the music director of the live band at the Pleasure Palace?
Yes.
I want to go to the Pleasure Palace.
Slow-Mo's Pleasure Palace at the reopening of the Ramova in Bridgeport. It was built in 1929. I think it's been closed for a couple decades, and they've been spending the past 5 years or so rebuilding, remodeling. Got to take a walk through yesterday. It looks incredible in there, so it will be fun, and we'll be there New Year's Eve.
Is that their first event?
Yeah, we're the inaugural big event. So, the first show they're having there.
Wow, exciting. And you have a new single?
I do.
Hades Moon.
Hades Moon. It's been out for a little under a month, so yeah, it's good to be here continuing to promote it.
And we're gonna premiere it here, the first time being aired on WCPT.
That's right.
It's a WCPT premiere. We're gonna hear that in a little bit, and we're gonna talk. And Akenya and I just met, so we'll be able to look back in 20 years and be like, we have our first conversation, recorded, digitized, with Henry. Yeah. Henry has a pink hoodie on, everybody.
Oh, yeah.
In case you didn't know. He's having a bad hair day, so he just went with the pink.
Absolutely.
No, Henry never has a bad hair day.
Looks good to me.
No,
exactly.
But I appreciate it.
Collaboration Radio, we are sponsored by the Joseph and Bessie Feinberg Foundation and donors like you. Yes, you. You can email radio@collaboraction.org if you'd like to get an ad or sponsor the show. Or just go to www.collaboraction.org to learn more. What would I do without you?
I don't know.
Today's episode of Collaboration Radio is also sponsored by AV Chicago, Chicago's leading provider of AV production and event management services. They have the gear and the nerds to make it all happen. Collaboration is a 27-year-old nonprofit. Our mission is to build knowledge, empathy, dialogue, and action, or as I call, KEDA. I don't call it KEDA, but I just every now and then I write it down. You liked it?
KEDA.
KEDA.
That sounds like somebody's little cousin.
Hey, where's Kita? It also sounds like a martial art. So I do say that, like, right? Because, okay.
Tai Chi, Qigong, Kita.
Kita. Is it Akita? Is that a...
Akita. That's my doppelganger.
Akita, you are the girl that I never had.
Ooh. When's your album coming out?
This is it right here.
This is it.
This is track number 9,470. I mean, it's true, though. I heard this thing that when you die, you realize, you, like, go off stage, and you realize, like, this is all play. And you can see the people in the wings waiting to come on, and you can see the people who just finished, and you go, wait, I was the actor and the writer the whole time?
Oh. Producer, too.
Yeah. Producer, composer, puppeteer. But yeah, life is a. I heard another thing. This is why you should get TikTok if you're, 50 plus. I just turned 50.
Congrats.
Thank you. 600 months.
You just turned. When's your birthday?
August 3rd.
Kristen called that you were a Leo.
Yeah, of course.
She called it.
I'm like the Leo. And
TikTok.
I saw this TikTok that said, God is a thing that we put a blanket on so we can recognize the shape, but we don't know what's under the blanket. Because we don't, we have faith, that's where faith comes in. But anyways,
that's got to be a hell of a blanket.
Yeah, right? It's a quilt. Maybe.
That's good.
But yeah, so we believe in the power of communal art and stories to inspire new Kita, knowledge, empathy, dialogue, and action. And we do that through live theater and film. We have a great web series pilot that you have to watch. I'll send you the link. It's called Oh Colonizers.
Oh. Okay.
Oh, but it's like this. Oh Colonizers. Written by Carla Stillwell. It's a black
Colonizers.
Exactly. It's a Black Masterpiece theater piece.
Oh, awesome.
And the pilot connects the insurrection to the Civil War.
Okay, cool.
And after the Civil War, America had a choice, and we chose capitalism. And it's really great. But that's some of the film we do, and of course we have Trial in the Delta. We've run a couple Emmy Awards, and now we're doing radio too, to leverage the power of storytelling and community to cultivate positive social change. And we're in a slow season at Collaboraction. We're getting ready to push out our annual appeal. We have a big announcement we hope we can make next year, early in the year. We're just coming off of the amazing, we throw parties called the House of Belonging. Darling Shear performed at one with us, and Darling is one of my favorites. Love Royal Darling Shear.
Empress.
Darling said any royalty pronouns are okay.
That tracks.
And I'm going to be with my family visiting my brother and my mother in Florida for New Year's Eve. Otherwise,
Godspeed.
I would be with But we had our most recent House of Belonging event at Epiphany Center for the Arts. You been there? The church?
No, it's on Ashland.
Yeah,
that's on my list. Oof. I want to go.
It's.
I want to perform there.
Yeah. My wife is a multi-hyphenate, and she has a band she fronts called the Sandra Delgado Experience.
Okay.
It's kind of like a Jimi Hendrix kind of thing,
Yeah.
I could see you having the Akenya Seymour experience.
The Akenya experience.
A-S-E, Ashe.
Ashe.
That's what it could be called.
Wow. Okay, I'm gonna get.
Did anybody ever come up with that one before?
No, just you.
Yes,
only you.
All right, the show's over. I've
gotta go put that band together.
We're in the free zone now. So yeah, Epiphany Center for the Arts, beautiful venue, 200-year church that got fully renovated into a music cathedral, and that main room is amazing. It's beautiful, and we had a great event there. So we might do more, and maybe we'll be able to get Ashe to perform.
Okay, that's funny. That's good.
Don't encourage me. And. Yeah, and then we have big plans for next year, and we're not going to talk about them right now. But go to collaboraction.org or our YouTube and subscribe. We did just release a nice trailer for our youth program, The Light. We train young people between the ages of 13 and 20 to create work that inspires Kita. And they each have their own platform that they work on.
Okay.
I mean, they have their own medium, and then they choose a platform that they feel very connected to and passionate about. Mental health awareness, Black Lives Matter, homeless or housing insecurity, and then they make work to, do that thing around that. And we'll be having new auditions for next year's Light group, probably in February, and they get paid $18 an hour to come to rehearsals, to write work on their own, to perform, and they're amazing. And they've performed at Kidsapalooza every year.
Oh, fun.
And at the Fresh Fest at Navy Pier, and then we tour the parks with Nights Out in the Park. I am the MC of Kidsapalooza and Austin Kitty Limits. And as I was researching you, I saw some backstage Coachella footage. And I was like, oh, yeah, she knows that festival life.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Have you ever been to Coachella?
No.
That's an experience. It's so enormous. It's like, I'll tell you, after one of the sets, it was the end of the night, and it was the second weekend, because they do this 2 weekends. It's like some weird, cruel torture to like put you through the ringer and then say, okay, now go away for a week and come back and do it like in 7 days. Like what? So it was the second weekend, everyone's already tired and at their wits' end. It was like 115 degrees. I don't even know. And one of the sets ended, and usually they have the little carts to take you back to the little trailer.
The golf carts.
But they didn't have any more. And I was just like out there, SOL. And so I had to walk from like one stage all the way back to like where the other stage near the little trailers were. And that took, I don't even know. I think I left my body. That was like a 40-minute walk. It was just like, this thing is so massive. This is absolutely insane. So
Austin Kitty Limits is a part of Austin City Limits, and that's a 2-week festival.
Yeah.
And this year,
I haven't been to that fest yet.
So this is the 4th time I've emceed the kids stage, but it was the first time I stayed in the week in between.
How was that?
It was great.
Yeah.
It was good. It's what I needed. Except I got an ear infection swimming in the Barton Springs, which are these beautiful natural springs that are right behind the festival, and that threw me for a curveball. But have you ever performed at Lollapalooza?
I have. This is so funny. It's kind of random because I don't do this sort of thing anymore. But I was just doing background singing for, do you know Smino?
Yeah.
Loves Me, and yeah, it was his debut performance at Lolla. Like he had never done Lollapalooza, and what year was that? 2015, 2016, something like that. Yeah, and it was cool. And yeah, I don't do, like, typically I either am doing my own thing or I'm musically directing or like playing piano and singing, but I was like just a background singer for that gig, and it was fun. And I feel like it was the way to do it. Like, to go to Lollapalooza and have, the artist pass and access to the different tents and the great like food stations they had and getting to mix and mingle with different people. Like, it was the way to do Lollapalooza.
The only way.
Otherwise, you're literally, you're just in the mud, and like, I didn't have to deal with any of that. It was like a really great experience.
They had golf carts for you.
And they did not run out of golf carts. Take that, Coachella.
Well, I'm here with Akenya Seymour, as I've mentioned, and I'm going to read some of her bio for y'all. She's a multi-genre vocalist, pianist, composer, arranger, music director. Her music is an eclectic synthesis of jazz, hip-hop, soul, pop, classical, and world music. She's a proud Chicago native. Akenya has performed and recorded with some of the city's leading artists, such as Smino, Saba, and Chance the Rapper. And in 2016, she joined forces with rapper No Name, appearing on her critically acclaimed debut, Telephone, and touring as her musical director. And that's where she played at Coachella, right? Is that?
Yes, actually, yeah. We got back together for that.
You opened for Hannibal Buress and Miss Lauryn Hill with No Name. And in the jazz world, you've worked with a variety of stars and legends. You're a graduate of the New England Conservatory of Music's renowned Jazz Studies program. And you've collaborated with Esperanza Spalding, Dave Holland, Fred Hirsch. In 2018, she joined experimental jazz supergroup Reservoir, led by Will Miller of the indie band Whitney. She's the group's only vocalist as well as its primary keyboardist. The band's self-titled debut project garnered much praise, receiving an 8.2 from Pitchfork, leading to Akenya being heralded as a multifaceted genius. The band was dubbed 2019's Best Jazz Band by the Chicago Reader. As a composer, you made your chamber orchestral debut in 2019 when Portland-based group Palaver Strings commissioned a 13-string ensemble Life Songs concert in Boston. And your 3-movement piece entitled Fear the Lamb is a tribute to the life of Emmett Till.
Yes, that's right.
So we both have a little bit of Mamie Till's legacy in our sails. We all do, whether you know it or not. Because we would be living in a different multiverse. And as a solo artist, Akenya's unique sound and versatile musicianship has garnered the attention of all the top-tier publications, and she has her new single, Hades Moon, which has just been released, and we're going to play that in its entirety right now.
This one's for my Hades babies. This is for my Hades babies. Shadows got me again, got me creeping again, overthinking again. I ain't been sleeping again. I'm addicted to sin, I'm addicted to pain. Every loss is a win when I'm fully insane. Cause if it's bad, then I want it. If it's good, then I don't. I don't know if I'm haunted. Said I changed, but I won't. This old blues is historic, and it's trauma consumes. If I may wax metaphoric, I blame my Hades moon. It's just that 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 Hades moon. It's such a shady tune, like Persephone's doom. She was trapped in a tomb. Now she's begging for June, so she can go fly like free. As soon as I see the sun, it's bothering me. Take a lessons apart. 2,000 every day, maybe I'll find my way. It's not just the moon, he vanquished the sun too. He's next to my heart, my Venus is star too. Incarnating's heart, this lifetime is part. 2,000 every day, maybe someday I'll learn to integrate, mutate, elevate, translate, transmute, transform until reborn. Innovate, create, individuate, transmute, transform, transcend, ascend. Integrate, mutate, elevate, translate, transmute, transform until reborn. Innovate, create, individuate, transmute, transform, transcend, ascend. Integrate, mutate, elevate, translate, transmute, transform until reborn. Innovate, create, individuate, transmute, transform, transcend, ascend. Integrate, mutate, elevate, translate, transmute, transform until I'm reborn. Damn it. Innovate, create, individuate, transmute, transform, transcend, ascend. Just let this ride out, let this ride out, let this ride. Just let this ride out, let this ride out. Just let this ride out, let this ride out, let this ride. Yeah. That's my that's my ooh.
Wow. That's your shush.
That's my
Wow, that sound. Great song.
Thank you.
The layers in the headphones, man.
It's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on
Took a
there.
long time to make it.
Well, you know, the good thing you got that orchestral background to do all them layers.
It's true.
Beautiful. I love it.
Thank you.
That's Hades Moon. You could catch it on the Spotify and the title and all those places.
That's right.
And, you know, and then, you know, follow Akenya so you can stay close to the fire as some new hot plates are coming out of the kitchen. And then head on over to Slow-Mo's Pleasure Palace at the new Ramova Theater at the corner of 35th and Halsted in Bridgeport, a new musical mecca on the South Side. Bridgeport is in the South Side, folks, if you didn't know that. It is. And it's pretty cool that a new multicultural destination will be coming to Bridgeport.
Needed.
Once the most exclusive neighborhood in Chicago.
Mm-hmm. That's one way of saying it.
Slowly getting less exclusive. Yeah, if you don't know about the history of Bridgeport, go learn about it, because we're here to talk about Akenya.
Hey.
Oh.
And thanks for that extensive, lovely intro. You almost like my whole bio. Thank you very much.
Well, there's pieces of it. You know, sometimes it's nice to have someone kind of read your bio for you, because you don't read it after a certain point. You only update it. Right. And like I said, you know, it's like, okay, first of all, if a tree falls in the woods, does it make a sound?
Yes.
Right. Henry?
I'm inclined to believe it does.
Yes. Do you know why it makes a sound?
Why is that?
Because if there's a forest, there has to be insects.
And birds and squirrels and other trees and all kinds of observers to hear the sound it makes.
Exactly. We ain't the only ones that hear shh. You know what I mean?
It's not just our shh.
Yeah, there's a lot of shh that we're not the only ones here in this.
We're not even the first ones. We're not even close.
No. And the pyramids are older than we think. Okay. But if you'd like to call in and chat with Akenya and I, give us a call. We're here at 773-763-WCPT. That's 773-763-9278.
It's a lot of sevens.
The phone lines are open. And so tell us about like this new song and where it came from, and then what's next for you and your music.
Where it came from, like kind of the inspiration or story behind it type thing.
And or like in your personal journey, whatever.
Sure.
Either and.
and. Well, hey, I'm sure people hear the title Hades Moon and they're like, oh, what is that? Like, what does that mean? Just an aside, I'm also a professional astrologer. I grew up around astrology. I've literally known that language my whole life, and launched my own business almost 4 years ago now, called Double Venus Astrology. So I actually do various types of readings, the real stuff, guys, not the like pop mean astrology, which, you know, it's fun, but it's not accurate. So Hades Moon is actually deals with that. I wanted to. I've been trying to figure out how to blend like my own knowledge about not just astrology, but other various esoteric things, mythology, psychology, spirituality, and how to infuse that in my music. And I wanted to specifically like find a musical way to talk about things in my own birth chart. So Hades Moon, in short, it's very layered and a very complex thing to break down, but just in short, it has to do with people who either have moon in Scorpio, moon in the 8th house, if we're thinking about the different houses in a chart, or moon Pluto aspects. So the moon and Pluto in your chart interacting with each other, and it can create a very intense emotional nature, a deep psyche. Really what the person who has this is being called to do is like learn how to go through difficulty, trauma, pain, and learn how to transform that into empowerment. So yeah, that's what the song is about. And then obviously it's hard to talk about Hades without evoking Persephone. So there's a little of like the Hades Persephone mythology in the song. Yeah, just dealing with those different archetypes that are found through things like astrology and mythology. And yeah, I wrote it while I was going through kind of a difficult moment emotionally, and really writing personal introspective music is, I think, what helps me transmute like difficult feelings or painful experiences into something healing, and that can be transformative, not just for me but then shared with other people. So it's almost like an offering for others who might go through similar things, or who may be looking for some form of sonic healing. And, you know, I feel like I grew up listening to a lot of different kinds of music, but I definitely grew up listening to hip hop and pop and R&B, and my music has a lot of that in it. And I feel like you can have music that comes through a pop lens or a pop context, or has a good beat, makes you want to groove, but still has very deep, meaningful lyrics and can offer like something real emotionally. So I feel like that's something I'm always trying to achieve in my music. So yeah, I hope that answered your question.
Yeah. And so where do you want to take your career in the next 10 years?
10 years. Wow. Well, I will definitely, I think by that time, have put out several albums. I'm working on releasing my debut album in the next year. And this song you just heard is the lead single from that. That'll be called Moon in the 4th. More astrological references there. Yeah, but I don't think it'll stop there. I would love to make more music. I'm already, even as I'm wrapping up this album, already thinking about the next one. I would love to have toured my own tours, seen the world, connected with different people all over the world, perform for different people. I would like to have a family at some point, you know, that'd be great. And yeah, I mean, I obviously I have this other career too, this astrology career. I've honestly deeply considered, I probably will whenever I have the time and stability, getting like my master's in psychology, to support a lot of the work that I'm already doing with astrology, which is very much rooted in counseling when you're doing that kind of work with people. And maybe write some books too and give some talks. I mean, I've always wanted to be a Renaissance person, but not in a way that's just kind of like, slapping my name or my brand on various different, projects and for the sake of expansion or capitalistic growth or whatever. But like really a Renaissance person in the sense of like I have deep interests in things and I would like to find a way to make them cohesive and as an offering like for the world. It sounds cheesy, but I want to contribute something that helps make the world a better place, that helps bring something like meaningful and uplifting. And I think there's various ways to do that. So those are some of the things on my roster. But yeah, I would really, in less than 10 years, in the next few years, I would like to be definitely a fully established solo artist with bodies of work who's able to perform for people, and do great interviews like this and talk about the deeper meaning behind the work.
Put it into the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Ashe.
Ashe. Ashe.
And when you are at Austin City Limits, I will be there waiting for you when you get off stage.
Yeah.
And we will golf cart our way back to Artist Village and have a libation and say, remember we talked about that back on December, what is today? The 16th.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And you have it recorded.
What's that?
And it's recorded.
That's right.
All recorded.
Hey, Anthony and Akenya in the future, good work. Look at us. Look at you. So during the pandemic, I was doing a body of work with Collaboraction and my amazing collaborators around truth and reconciliation in Chicago.
Ooh.
And we have this thing. We had a show called Blue Island and the Red Sea. And it was meant about Chicago truth and reconciliation. And the title is kind of like the first trick on the audience, because most people think, Democratic Chicago in the Red Sea, you know. But actually, for us, the Blue Island was the place where the median income is over $100,000, and they have all the grocery stores and restaurants and theaters and trees and pharmacies, and the Red Island was everywhere else. This 400-year genocide that's been happening in our city. And, just because you're Democrat doesn't mean you get a pass on actually having to show up and put blood, sweat, and tears into the work it'll take to unwind the white supremacy, classism, and colonization of our country, of our continent. And then, I'm not going to tell you about that show. It was really cool, though. And then I started working on a new show with Carla called Red Island, and that was about colonialization of America. And then, and in our play with music that we were writing was actually about a young singer-songwriter named Future. And Future goes to her uncle's house after school. Future goes to her uncle. Her uncle's name is Cousin Brother.
Okay.
So she would go to Uncle Cousin Brother's house, and he would teach her music. Well, she's listening to all this pop stuff, and he gets a little upset. He's like, no, put the guitar down. Today we're going to talk about the history of this country so you understand that you have a platform, and you need to use it. And we've done you a disservice and haven't taught you enough about all this stuff. And then it starts as a musical, and it goes back to Spain, to the doctrine of discovery in the late 15th century. Do you know about this thing?
Yeah, of course.
Which was, used in a federal court, like in the early aughts. So that's Red Island. And then basically it predicted a civil war, much like the insurrection. And so when that all happened in front of our eyes, we were like, oh, the project's over. Like, we were way ahead of everybody, and then reality passed us by, and now we're like, it's too late. So we did turn that into a play. Carla wrote it into a play called Orange Rope, or A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Capitol. And you can find that on Collaboration's YouTube. Colonizers came out of that project. And then we were in the pandemic. And we kind of said, okay, what does truth and reconciliation look like now in the middle of the pandemic? And the only first step towards any kind of racial healing was self-care. And is still self-care. And so me and my collaborators, Carla Stillwell, Pilar O'Dane, and Marcus Robinson co-created a show called Moonset Sunrise. And do you know, you probably know this, when a full moon sets, the sun rises at the same time. And there, depending on where you are in your time zone, there actually could be a few minutes between, you know, the setting moon and the rising sun. And so Act 1 was a healing moon ritual to release all that does not serve you. Forgive yourself, your parents, your ancestors, and your...
And that's what full moons in particular are good for.
And so we... And then the second act, this was with a 7-piece band.
Oh, wow.
Do you know Coco Elises?
Yeah.
Coco was in the show, playing the conga.
Cool.
And the diddley bow.
Oh, awesome.
Coco played the diddley bow in our live music for Trial in the Delta. So get some of that Mississippi bow. Do you know Sean Wallace? Sean Wallace is a super talented piano player, composer. Anyways, him and Coco used to be married, actually.
Yes. Somebody just told me about him. I just got connected with him.
Yeah, he is amazing.
I'm like, why does that name?
See, well, there's so I believe in something called synchrodestiny, which is there are no coincidences.
Yeah,
and it's up to us to really pay attention and then
listen to the signs. Totally.
So tell Sean Wallace I said hello.
Okay.
Him and Carla are very close, so that's how Coco got in. But Coco was part of Moonset Sunrise. Dr. Marcus Robinson was the music director. He's a dear friend. And Act 1 was the release. And people had a notebook where they could write down the things they wanted to release. And then Act 2 was a sunrise celebration. And, you know, if you're alive, and if you're listening right now, I got news for you. We're alive. You're still alive.
Isn't it amazing?
It's
a miracle.
It's many miracles.
So many circumstances needed to, like infinite variables needed to align for us to
to be born.
It's incredible.
So we each have 40,000 ancestors. To be alive today, you have 40,000 ancestors. And you're 1 in a trillion that the sperm and the egg are going to even do it, and you're going to be born, and you're going to be healthy enough to live. So 2 people meeting is 1 in the trillion to the second power, or times itself. So you and I, and all of our ancestors, the 80,000 of them, for all of that to happen, to put us a foot away from each other, talking into these mics at the same time with Henry. It's a miracle. So that's Moonset Sunrise. We hope to bring it back. We might be doing it in North Lawndale next year, but we'd like to do it on full moons. And I'm going to personally make sure you know about it to come out. You don't know Pilar O'Dane, do you?
No.
Pilar is a Yoruba high priestess, and she leads the show. And it was really special. And there's some videos on Collaboration if you want to learn more about that. So if you are a superhero who uses her past experiences, good or bad, to write and shape and share sonic experiences to transform, heal, inspire yourself and others, what is your superhero origin story?
My life.
Let's hear your Well, tell us the story of your life.
How long is this show?
We have 12 minutes left, so you can do the 5-minute version for your grandkids to listen to. Last week we had
really gotta save this episode.
Last week we had Loretta Firekeeper Hawkins on, and she's a Collaboraction company member. Her husband was a pallbearer at Emmett Till's funeral.
Oh my God. Wow.
You know, and she's got kids and grandkids, you know, so yeah, what's your story?
I had an interesting upbringing. So I was an only child to a single mother, mom who, you know, worked and continues to work very hard to support me in my dreams. I had a lot of health problems growing up. I had seizures quite frequently, quite severely throughout my adolescence, and among other things, asthma, you know, really bad ear infections, actually, just a lot of things, and so because of that, and because of also being a pretty, I'd say, unusual child, I was categorized as gifted, you know, the gifted label. I really think that gifted kids, obviously they have gifts, but I think they're actually special needs kids. And there's a lot of there's a lot of things that I struggle with in terms of like socializing and just being kind of precocious, and I didn't have a lot of friends. I didn't have a lot of peers, and I also had these health issues, and I was a single child to a single mother. So I spent a lot of time alone, right? Like I spent a lot of time connecting with myself, and I think you know, the root of what it means to reflect and introspect, you know, that has really early origins for me. Actually, one of the things I did or excelled at very early in my life was language. So I started reading very, very early. I don't know what it is. My mom would have to call in and say what it is, something like 18 months, I don't know, very young, and excelled with language. And so I started writing at like 5, and I've been keeping a journal since I was like 5, 6 years old. Wrote poetry, you know, journal reflections, and then I always sang. Apparently I sang myself to sleep as a baby, so I always sang. I remember always loving music, but when I was around 8, I think I got like a little toy keyboard for Christmas and started playing things by ear, and it was very easy. And so something kind of happened where like all of the right pieces came together to form the alchemy that would become like realizing like, oh, I can be a singer-songwriter. Like I already write, you know, prose and poetry. I like to sing. And then I started taking piano lessons, and then I had that, and it was like, oh, it all goes together. Like, I think I realized this probably around like 10, 11. And honestly, I've been pursuing that pretty fervently, like, since. So, yeah, that's like 20 years of my life really focused on the same goal. And those things in my past, I mean, you could say that some of those things are sad. Like, obviously it's difficult to grow up with health problems, and it's difficult not being able to necessarily relate to your peers and so on and so forth. But I also feel like those circumstances forced me to have to create my own world of imagination and creativity and escape, and really set the grounds for the kind of creativity and, once again, you know, introspection necessary to, I think, do what it is I do. And it's I think those things were innate anyway. Like I had those innate abilities, but definitely having a mom who paid attention and was like, okay, I'm going to put you in the things you need to be in, the programs, the schools you need to be in, and then having like incredible educators and mentors along the way really helped me refine this into something that, you know, has reached the level of what it is today.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Do you know about Saturn returns?
I'm a professional astrologer. Yes.
So did
I'm done. I finished mine in March. And it was a Saturn return. Believe you me. It was, you know, and there were other things, other transits and things specific to my own chart that made it a very distinct experience.
And being that time doesn't move in a straight line and doesn't really exist, what do you want to say to that 9-year-old version of yourself?
Oh, you've got a real journey ahead of you. It's not going to be as seamless as your, you know, little mind thinks. You know, because as a kid, it's like, I want to be famous at like 15, you know, whatever. You don't have a very good concept of time or like what goes into things. I always worked hard. That wasn't the issue, but I don't know. I guess I thought my trajectory would be different. And then, you know, life happens and I got other illnesses and other experiences and other setbacks and advantages and things that, you know, changed the course of things. But I guess what I want to say is, like, you have a real journey ahead of you. It's not always going to be sunshine and roses, but you really are so strong. You have incredible perseverance. You will stay the path. You will have success. The best is definitely yet to come. Like, you won't even believe some of what you will accomplish. And I don't even think I've scratched the surface yet in terms of what I will accomplish. But even, you know, having had the opportunity of performing on the stages I have and like being on a radio station and people are listening to my song, you know, like things that when you're me now in this moment in the grind and, you know, okay, I gotta do this and gotta keep going, it can be hard to take those moments and appreciate what you've accomplished. And so I would want to reflect that to my 9-year-old self. Like, you did it and you're doing it and you're going to keep doing it and you're going to persevere and you're going to see like your hard work really pay off.
You know, it's good to kind of, you know, vision like these accomplishments and these things, and when you get to this place in the future, which we know the future doesn't exist, you know, but it's almost always the doing of it, you know, and the
that's a big lifelong goal. I am actually a Capricorn rising, so the lesson of like it is actually the process. It's not the goal, because you'll always have another goal. There's always gonna be another mountain. But seriously though, like,
yeah, beyond the mountain there are more mountains.
And it's so hard. It can be so easy to get lost in that and to lose track of appreciating the journey itself.
And just that we have a journey.
Yeah.
And you know what? If you're bored with your journey, take a turn.
Yeah.
Go a different way.
That part.
Listen to your heart and your stomach. Tell your brain to chill and listen to your heart and your stomach. They will never lead you astray. And if it's 2 a.m. and you're eating buffalo wings,
oh wow,
it's okay. You know, there'll never be a better you than you.
It's okay.
It's okay.
If you ordered that Wingstop for the 3rd time in a row this week, you know, it's gonna be okay.
I have cut back on my buffalo wing intake, and I just want to, but they got so expensive, the pandemic. Next thing you know, everything's so expensive.
Man.
You go to, it's like a $16 burrito without rice and beans. What is going on here? Man, I mean, the Jewel is expensive now.
Jewel, the Marianos.
Oh.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
So.
It's insane. It's actually insane. It's actually insane. I bought like a pack of chicken and I was like, is this chicken or fish? Because what is this price? Like, is this king salmon or is this some freaking chicken wings? Like, huh? What's going on? Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what's going on. We're coming to the end. We have 2 weeks left in 2023. And you can ring in the new year with Akenya.
You better promote me.
At the Pleasure Palace.
You better do it.
She is does that make you the pleasure principal?
And cue that song.
You know it.
I think I'm crazy, but I'm serious. Am I the pleasure principal?
Of the principal of the Pleasure
that's funny.
College.
That's a good little pun.
I've had 2 today. It's been a very great day for Anthony Mosley, and I'm glad we got this on tape. Akenya, it was so great to meet you and talk with you. You're clearly a super awesome person, and she got called a genius. But don't forget, most people don't know what genius is. Genius is somebody who sees the world differently and does things to change the way other people see the world. It doesn't just mean you're like really smart. There's a lot of really smart people who are not geniuses. Geniuses change the way we see the world. So it's great to be hanging out with a musical genius who also is more than that. And you've got 2 fans here, I think, now.
Thank you.
And I wish I could be there on New Year's Eve, so I'm going to have to. I can't wait till you roll out this new album. I feel like I'm part of it now.
You are.
And maybe Collaboration can in slow mo can tag along and support. We got a big community of wonderful weirdos, and we'd all love to be there dancing at your Chicago show.
Yeah.
And have a great holiday and New Year's Eve. I'm sure you're just going to rock.
Thank you so much.
And thank you all for joining us here at Collaboration Radio. What a show. Next week we got Sammy Rangel, who is one of the most amazing people in the world. Google Sammy Rangel TED Talk Budapest and learn about Sammy's story. And see, now we could sing over this too if you want. That's what we do sometimes.